That's it. Yeah, we're wrapping up this week's BTE. I wanted to hit you guys with a couple news and notes from the AEW world in the last little bit. Just kind of riff on it and let me know what you guys think of some of this stuff. What do you guys feel about? How do you guys feel about that?
Go right ahead, my friend.
Welcome to AEW Talk with the Boys.
Okay, first is AEW pay-per-view Revolution, originally scheduled for February 27th. Tony Khan did not like the idea of that going against Canelo Alvarez, if I pronounced that properly, pay-per-view boxing match. So they were going to push it to Saturday, March 6th, but that is also the night of UFC 259. So now we have it pushed back one more day to March 7th, and this will be the first Sunday pay-per-view for AEW. So Revolution is pushed back about a week, and this time it'll be on a Sunday.
Yeah, I heard a similar story to that too. The story that I heard though is that they even switched the location as well, right? So it had something to do with the lineup of location, that fight. They were still going to do it on a Saturday, but I'm not too sure about the boxing match due to, like, I see it may take away some viewership, but if you're an AEW fan, I think 98% would probably get the AEW over the boxing, depending. But it is a big boxing match. And then I heard, Saturday to the Sunday. But from what I was hearing, it had something to do with the location and how many people they could have as well as the other Impact storyline. Something's going on, I believe, in the background with Impact and Anthem, and maybe we'll see it by then, and that has something to do with it as well, coming to March 6th instead of February 27th. I'm hearing a date of March 1st right now, anyways. So,
okay, I'll say the info I got, I want to give credit. I got it off WrestlingInc.com. You said that they've changed the venue. They're not hosting Revolution at Daly's Place?
No, they're not hosting Revolution at Daly's Place.
Where is it going to be?
I'll tell you right now.
Okay. While Randy looks that up, I'll move on to the next little piece of news I wanted to bring up, and that is Tony Khan officially announced it'll be Sting and Darby Allin versus Brian Cage and Ricky Starks in a cinematic street fight. So we have Sting's first match in AEW coming up. And I'm excited to see it. It's a lot like what we thought, where Sting won't be actually in the ring. They're going to do it in a cinematic format. And this has been built really well for a while, and I'm really looking forward to this. I'm not sure if this is going to be at Revolution or Beach Blast.
I have no idea. I would figure it was probably coming at Beach Blast, you would think, right? Because I mean, you got Taz. It is building up to right now, but I guess if they're doing it to Revolution, you're going to have a hell of a lot more matches in between there and now, right? Because Beach Blast is only a week away, is it not?
I believe so. I should have looked up the date for that, but matches come.
I thought it. I had a really deep feeling in my gut if he was going to wrestle, it was going to be a cinematic match. And you're right. They have been building it very well between him and Team Taz and Darby Allin. I didn't get the angle at first. Cause even Darby Allin said, when they did, I didn't get the him and Brian Cage thing because there was one match, months ago, and then they fought each other on Dynamite, and it's but there wasn't really built. But after that match, then they've kind of built it up every week since then. I think it's been great. I've loved it.
The one qualm I have with it. Oh, sorry, Randy.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. Go.
I would just say the one Sting's promo on Dynamite when he said to Darby, "I see a lot of myself in you." Uh-huh. And aside from a bit of white and black face paint, there's no similarities between Darby and Sting at all.
No,
am I missing something? There's nothing alike.
I guess it's kind of like the whole goth character, I guess. But even then, I don't really see Darby Allin as that. I see him as
the
more
lone wolf all by himself. Sting was more or less. This black and white Sting was always lone wolfish. So is Darby Allin. The makeup, everything else like that. You won't see you'll see Darby Allin go red and black. If he does, that's it.
I don't know. Even Darby Allin like teamed up with like John Moxley and like Will Hobbs before Hobbs joined Team Taz. It's not even like Darby was always a total lone wolf either.
But
like,
he is. He's always sitting in the stands by himself and stuff.
They only started doing the sitting in the stands once they knew Sting was coming in. That was the whole reason he started sitting up there, was to have that kind of reference point. That's
but
just
even the BTE videos that you saw before, even previous to this, even having about. Remember, he was doing stuff, black and white videos, in his backyard or whoever's backyard acres that was. It was always more or less. That's my perspective.
Right.
I always took him that. Yeah, he may come in and run just like Moxley will come in and help anybody too, or whatever, like face side. But I take him as like just an individual. So
I guess like that's like the only real connection you can kind of make, because like other than that, I don't see much of a similarity between Sting and Darby aside from like the white and black face paint and stuff like that. But I just a thought I'd.
So let's rewind a little to the Revolution. I'm on AEW's website right now. Again, I heard rumors it's not going to be at Daly's Place. Now they haven't even announced the new date yet, but it goes city TBD, venue TBD. So it's still to be determined. I heard, again, it will not be at Daly's Place. It'll be somewhere else where they can have more fans. So that's the rumor I'm hearing.
I do know they're branching out and selling tickets already for Dynamite in different places, even right now. Because I did see that Rochester is coming up in March, that it's booked already.
Wow.
I think that was booked before, though, right?
Last March, they were supposed to do Rochester. Eric had tickets for that, right?
Yeah, that was the one I was supposed to go to, but it got pushed till September, and then it got canceled, and then it was... There was a whole thing with that, but now that they're finally looking to branch out into other places around the States, and they're going to start touring, they said again. Slowly, not all the time, but...
So here's a funny stat right here. So I'm looking at all the tickets that are available. Only up to Wednesday, February 3rd at Daly's Place is available to buy. Then after February 3rd, remember I said this March 1st thing has something to do with it. It goes to April 7th, 2021 in Philadelphia, April 21st in Boston, May 29th at the MGM. So this is all 2021. So it's missing all of March. So again, the rumor that I'm hearing, something's happening March 1st. I don't know. It may be something stateside or Florida side that we don't know about, right? About the restrictions on people. And I think that has something to do with it as well, from what I'm hearing anyway.
I would imagine Tony Khan is kind of getting the lay of the land across the United States of what's opening up, what's going to be allowed in terms of arenas. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Vince McMahon and the WWE are hoping to have some sort of limited capacity as well for like WrestleMania or events coming up too. Like they definitely want that as soon as possible. So that makes a lot of sense of trying to kind of get out of Daly's Place and do something different. Because I will say it is. Sorry,
sorry, go ahead.
My bad. Sorry, talking over each other on Skype. My apologies, everybody.
Well, what happens if you were you started, so you might finish it.
Oh, it's just say the space looks nice and clean.
I was just gonna say I'm tired of seeing the show in Daly's Place every single week. I will say that every show looks exactly the same, and that's always a pet peeve of mine. But sorry, Randy, go ahead.
It's all good. I'm still presuming though in March it'll still be in Florida, but I do not think at Daly's Place because just the rules are so lax in Florida compared to California. We'll say, right? I still think it'll be in Florida, but where, I don't know. From what I'm reading anyways here.
Cool. A couple other quick notes I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on was this week on Dynamite 2, Cody is going to respond to Shaq finally. Shaq did an interview on December 9th with Brandy Rhodes after Jade Cargill had broke Brandy's arm. So it's taken from December 9th to now to finally kind of kick this angle back into full gear again, where Cody's going to respond to Shaq. If you remember that interview back then on December 9th, Brandy threw a glass of water on Shaq and called him an overgrown asshole. So there's been this rumor of the Cody versus Shaq match. Is it going to happen? How it's going to be? We've touched base on this a couple times, but it seems like we're going to finally get a bit of an answer in terms of where this is going to go. We'll see what Cody has to say. I'm just wondering what you guys think about a potential Cody Shaq feud / match angle on Dynamite coming up.
I don't know. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's nothing I was really interested in, even when it came out. I'm a little weary of having like pro athletes coming in and stuff like that. I mean, you've seen how it's burned WWE in the past, right? So, I mean, not that Shaq's not good. Like Shaq's a great, like, you know, he's a great personality and stuff like that. So it could be good. I don't know. Like, well, what are they going to do? They're going to do the same thing that WWE did. He's going to have a fight against Shaq. Yeah, you know what I mean? Or
against like, Big Show.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what are they gonna do? It's like what, him versus Wardlow or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't quite get it. I don't.
Wrestling companies love their celebrities and love their mainstream connections, so I'm not shocked at all that they try to do this. And Cody is the guy to use for stuff like this. He's their kind of mainstream ambassador. He's on the real Big Show or whatever that's called. That singing, dancing. The Go Big Show. Cody's their guy to have involved with a celebrity like this to try to bring some eyeballs. Shaq is a TNT personality on the NBA broadcast. So I'm not surprised they're going this way. But it's just been a long time coming. So I guess there's been some snags behind the scene in terms of, I don't know, Shaq's side of things or what they want to do or whatever. We'll get our answer maybe a bit on Wednesday. But I just wanted to see what you guys thought about that. Two quick things before we wrap up the show. Tony Khan was on Renee Paquette's podcast, Oral Sessions, and he mentioned that Jon Moxley is currently in the process of writing a book. And that's something I would love to read when it is finally done. I just thought it would be cool to mention that. Jon Moxley does not strike me initially as a person that would write a book, but maybe I'm underselling what the guy is capable of in terms of doing this, and I would love to hear his story. Just wondering what your guys' thoughts on a potential Jon Moxley book.
100% would read it, especially the CCW years. I'd want to know more about. A lot of documentaries have described it, but let's see how he says it in his own words.
Yeah, I'd 100% agree with Randy. I think something like that would be cool just to hear about all the crazy stories from CZW. Because, like, I think what we've heard online and like even just with stuff that people have talked about, I think that's just the tip of the iceberg for the crazy shit he used to do back then. Because I heard he was like a complete loose cannon back then. Like, you know what I mean? So it'd be interesting just to hear about that. And like, you know, he would kind of talk about his journey, I would assume. And like his journey is a very strange one, right? Like, you know, to go from CZW where you're doing stuff like Tournament of Death and stuff like that, and you're taking, you know, syringes to the face, and then you go to, you know, WWE where you're more of, you know, a toned down version of yourself, you know what I mean? And then now AEW Jon Moxley where they're trying to go back the opposite direction and make him more unhinged and, you know, crazy. It would definitely be an interesting read for sure.
My first thought when I heard about the book, I flashed back to the Stone Cold podcast when then Dean Ambrose was on the Stone Cold podcast. And this interview received a lot of criticism at the time. Because when Stone Cold would ask Jon Moxley about his family and his upbringing, John kind of went mute and awkward and silent. Because apparently he didn't want to talk about his family life and his upbringing, but they kind of brought it up to him anyway, kind of on the spot, and the interview really went kind of downhill from there. You could tell it really bothered him. And my first thought is like, this book might kind of finally get into this stuff that he'd never wanted to talk about and open up live on TV about. That was like, does that Stone Cold podcast, like that's what really stuck out with for me at the time. And he received a lot of criticism. It's like, here you are, the new WWE champion. You're on Stone Cold's podcast. And it was viewed as Dean Ambrose disrespecting Stone Cold by kind of shutting down, not really responding, not opening up. Because I think he was pissed off about the questioning that he was given at the time, and that to me signals that there's some real underlying shit there. And not to say that I want the dirt on his life or whatever, but my first thought of when I heard a Jon Moxley book, I connected it to the first time I heard Dean Ambrose as a person talk, which was on that podcast years ago, and that's what happened. So we'll kind of see.
It'll be a good read.
It'll be a good read. Last thing I want to finish off the show with today is that AEW on January 18th, they trademarked Battle of the Belts for general pro wrestling and merchandise use. So this screams interpromotional. Kenny getting all the belts is what's the guy from
Austin Aries?
No, Austin Aries. I was gonna say Thanos or something. Like an interpromotional battle of the belts, Impact versus AEW, whatever you want to call it. We'll like use your imagination here. A battle of the belts. It could be a pay-per-view. It could be whatever. But I was kind of gonna set Randy up here because this is everything you've been talking about for the last little while. What do you think about a trademark battle of the belts being registered by AEW?
Well, definitely coming up. There's a big rumor for them, Rich Swann versus Kenny at the next, not this upcoming Impact, but the next one after that. So maybe it's for that reason. Again, it's with Impact still. I'm still hoping for the New Japan stuff, which is sort of up in the air right now. Still, because I hear about now it might be, was it Juice Robinson versus Lance Archer for the title? Them stripping it. I don't know. I may be wrong, but look it up. It was the other day. But stripping Jon Moxley.
Which title? Oh, stripping Jon Moxley.
Yeah. So for not being able to do it in a period of time, I'll look up that thing as well.
Yeah, that'd be strange because Lance Archer's AEW too, right?
Right. That's what I found weird when I read it. But it would make sense. And remember that briefcase thing that I was telling you about before that Kenta has? That the belt will just be in it. So that's another thing I read again. So I don't know. We'll see. Again, I think it has a lot to do with that like Kenny Omega versus Rich Swann, and it'll probably happen sooner than later.
It gives
Oh, sorry, Eric.
I was saying, it gives me vibes of like the whole Clash of Champions thing. I hope to God they're not using it to make it like a pay-per-view where every belt is on the line, because that to me is that's like my least favorite WWE pay-per-view. Only because it doesn't seem like there's anything thematic about it. It's just everybody has a belt. Everybody has to defend their belt today. Like, you know what I mean?
WWE's bad for that in general. It's like TLC's like none of these feuds deserve a ladder match, but we're gonna have one anyway. Hell in a Cell. This feud doesn't require a cell match, but we're gonna have one anyway.
Yeah. So
but AEW.
I hope it's not, I was just saying, I hope it's not that. I hope that's not what they're leading towards. It does. They don't strike me as the company to do that. I just hope to God that's not what it is.
I don't think that'll be like, it should be viewed that way because AEW's got so few titles anyway. Every pay-per-view they do, because they're so few and far between, they're spread out. The titles are usually all on the line anyway. There's a title match, like, well, I guess the TNT title match. Does the TNT title get defended on pay-per-view, or is that only a Dynamite title?
No, it does.
Yeah.
It does. So like you
that's
got
where
your
Darby
tag,
won it, right?
Right. You got your tag, your TNT, your women's, and your heavyweight title. They're usually defended on pay-per-views anyway. This screams is like an interpromotional battle of the belts. So that's what I think. I hope so, at least.